Pre-recorded from New York,
it's the CrackBerry Podcast.
CrackBerry.com.
Hey everybody, Kevin here from CrackBerry.com. We are back in New York. It's like a year ago that we were here for 2 months with our BlackBerry 10 launch campaign. But last week was the BlackBerry Experience New York, and we have a brand new writer on the team, contributor on the team, Jubei Raziel.
Hello, guys.
So, you know, between all this New York talk, I was like, screw it, I'm jumping on a plane, and I'm coming here for a few days because I miss it. And we're gonna, you know, 15 minutes or so, we're gonna talk about the experience you had last week.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I've never. This is probably tech blogging history, where your first morning on the job, you went to an event, you met the CEO of the company, you know, a bunch of the senior execs. What's that saying? It's like out of the something and into
the frying pan.
Out
of the fire into the...
What is it?
Out of the frying pan into the fire.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. Yeah, that's what you did though. It's pretty good.
Something along those lines.
So I'm Kevin. This is Adam.
Hi.
I think we should let you talk for a bit. You just stare at the camera. I know you're a pro at this.
I'm a.
Had lots of practice.
Anyway, it was.
Anyway.
It was a tremendous experience. I mean, like Kevin said, jumping on the train and headed downtown, technically Midtown, and going to BlackBerry Experience New York was a wonderful meeting. You know, John Chen and John Sims. Was totally not expecting that. John Chen did actually crash the meeting though. That was not planned. And you know, they covered a lot of topics. You know, they covered a lot about BBM. Did you want me to go ahead and just
let's go into
BBM?
it.
We should preface too, I think, because a lot of the reason that they're having the BlackBerry Experience events is because there's no BlackBerry Live this year because they canceled it. So normally that would have happened probably within like the next 2 or 3 weeks because it was like the end of April, early May in Orlando. But they're not having that this year, which is kind of a bummer because that's pretty much our favorite conference.
Sure, I've been doing it since 2007 or 6. Yeah.
You know, and there's been some good ones and some bad ones, but in lieu of that, they're doing these BlackBerry Experience events. And I think the first one was in Paris or London like a week or 2 weeks ago, and then I think the New York one was the second one, and there's a bunch coming up. They just
actually it was like 2
in
days before the New York one.
Okay.
And the audience, though, like, so the audience isn't just media. There's a media event you went to as part of it, but the real
I think
audience
they're really
here
trying to cover all the corners because they understand it's like for IT and business and enterprise, but they also had a separate segment for the media and to address the other issues that were going on.
And this is something when we interviewed John Chen at, I guess back in Vegas at CES in January, and we asked about the cancellation of BlackBerry Live. You know, he said, well, we're not going to cancel the spending per se, but instead of making people, you know, fly to us, we're going to start to take the show to them and try to get in front of these key, you know, IT decision makers and everybody that can, business customers, etc. So, okay, good prefacing.
Okay, all yours. Carry on.
So there was a lot of focus on BBM. The development of it, they acknowledge they've been listening a lot to everyone, and they've been focusing on developing it for trying to really iron out all the bugs and fixes on the other platforms. That was one of the things they wanted to make clear. They did talk about Bbm Money, which was successfully executed over in Indonesia, as some people may know. And they are planning to have it for everyone, BBM Money. One of the things that I thought it was interesting...
What will I do with BBM Money?
Right. I mean, you can transfer money from person to person. You can pay for your phone service through BBM. You can pretty much have the flexibility of doing what you want, you know, financially. He did note, John Sims did note, though, that they will not carry this out without partnerships. So they wanted to make it clear that they were going to team up and partner with, you know, all the financial institutions, you know, so the experience for BBM Money globally was, you know, pretty much well balanced for everybody.
Did they get into fees? Is this a Bitcoin replacement?
They did not get into that. They were just, they kept it more on the feature side of things. So speaking of BBM and features, John Sims spoke about, obviously besides the bug fixes on the other platforms.
Which I'm going to say are needed.
We were just talking about it before we started recording.
Yeah, I mean, I've been flipping around phones a lot, partially because people, you know, friends I have who are on iPhones or Android phones, and I've made them install BBM, and they're like, you know, it's making WhatsApp look good kind of thing. So then I switched to Android to try it, and like, yeah, it's not as smooth as it needs to be. So that's very good to hear that that's a priority.
I mean,
fix.
he emphasized that they are listening and they're going to respond, accordingly to demand. Okay. And he specifically also talked about the registration process for BBM, for people to sign up. They're going to streamline that and make it a lot easier for people.
Does that mean switching the phone numbers? Like, what's
he didn't get into the specifics. He just felt that the process for someone to download and register for BBM was a little too it wasn't smooth enough. And he also felt that acquiring new friends, new contacts through BBM2 needed some tweaking as well. Okay. What also he mentioned was the UI. He wanted to really smooth out the experience in the UI and simplify it. So he says in the next couple updates to certainly expect things to look a little bit different, but to look, it's going to be simplified and, smooth all around.
It's kind of exciting because really BBM, I mean, it's changed over the years, but it's been...
But it hasn't changed.
But it hasn't changed a lot, right? Like I'm thinking back to my first BlackBerries, and I mean, more or less, you have that white app with the same sort of layout. Sure. I mean, it's kind of simple, but I think they've added complexity as they've added features. If you go back to BBM version 1, I mean, it was simple enough, but all you did was chatting with people, and that's it.
Even when they add new things now, like the stickers and stuff, like it took me 5 minutes to figure out where the stickers were. You had to go into the symbols, and then you have to like hit the button that kind of looks like a sticker, but doesn't really, and then you find your stickers, but they're not like in your face. But it's like you said, like it's changed a decent amount, but it's still.
And I'd love to see options for like say BBM channels, right? It's buried within
it's so hard for
me to... give me an option to say, give me a second icon on the home screen just for channels. It's a shortcut in.
Even when I go into BBM and try to access my channel, there's just way too many steps there for me to
I still can't find my own channel because I go through and it's like you think of where it is, but you're not really sure, so you like tap into it and you're looking and you're like, nope, that's not it, and then you're like, oh, here it is, I'll remember that for next time, and then you go do it the next time and you're like, nope, that's still not where it is.
Well, that's good to hear. So what else?
So I know a lot of CrackBerians are wondering about the BBM for desktop because that's usually a huge topic. I can confirm John Sims did say that BBM desktop is coming for enterprise initially.
Oh, interesting.
To be launched along with like eBBM, and also they're offering with BBM Protect, which is the secure messaging within enterprise.
Is that all wrapped into the BES 12 layout?
That's all going to be cohesively together. He's going to offer the desktop, because he said there's no sense of having BBM, eBBM without a desktop version for enterprise, because these are people and businesses that need to be able to be mobile and access information whenever. So he did emphasize that initially. My follow-up question was, is there going to be one for consumers, general public? And he did not shoot it down. He said actually that's probably the next evolution. They want to get the BBM desktop right for enterprise and regulated segments, and then they will it's easier transition to go into the consumer from there.
Now, if Blaze was sitting here with us, this is where he would go on a rant about they've had BBM for desktop for years, and they should have this already, but maybe, I don't know why it's taking so long. They could do it if they want to. It's just, I don't know. And then we'd cut him off right now.
And then he'd get all angry.
And then he'd get a little angry.
Drink some full throttle, light a cigarette.
Yeah. And we'd be like, I don't even know what I'm going back to that. So... anything else on the BBM front? I mean, I will say I love stickers. I've been buying every pack.
That's been a surprising element. I know a lot of people shot it down initially.
I shot it down a lot.
I don't use them for like an actual purpose. I mean, me and Michelle just go back and forth because it's like they said.
The Ultimate Warrior
in some regions, they actually have. Everybody loves the Ultimate Warrior, especially now that he's dead.
What?
Come on, you know this.
No?
You gotta be kidding me.
Just crushed my day.
They don't have news in Winnipeg?
I don't watch it. I rely on
last week. He died.
It was like heard it here.
I rely on you to tell me these things.
I apologize. Well, I didn't know you were such an Ultimate
Warrior. I'll blame it on the newsroom.
Blaze tweeted it like nonstop.
I don't really watch Twitter unless I have time.
Should we give you a moment?
Take
maybe.
some time. I'll finish my story. So I found the stickers for me, like they're more amusing than anything else. Like Michelle and I go back and forth with just conversations and stickers, but like I don't know that they have like an actual purpose. Like I don't know that I'd be. I'm serious though.
Well, they have a purpose for BlackBerry to make money at $2 a pack.
But I wouldn't be sending you stickers. You know what I mean? Like I downloaded the free ones, but I don't know that I'm going to pay $2 for sticker packs because it's.
unless Star Wars ones come out.
Yeah, unless there's something like badass, like Dukes of Hazzard or A-Team or something.
My thing is, I couldn't use the stickers where I wanted to. Like, I could use them only within chats, but I wanted to make the sticker in my status update, but it wouldn't let me insert it into.
That'd be a great feature.
I don't like that they send right away either, because I'm afraid that if I hit the wrong one, like if I'm trying to do the thumbs up and I hit like like the middle finger or something,
you can't see, especially in the Q10 model.
It sends it right away. Yeah, that's exactly.
It pops up. You can't really see.
So it just sends on its own. So it's like I'm trying to send a piece of pizza to somebody and it's sending them poop instead, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
The happiest poop ever, by the way. Very happy.
It's like my poops. That's where they modeled that after. Have happy poops.
Still can't believe the Ultimate Warrior passed away.
Should we start over?
No.
We might have to do another podcast.
So I was going to go as the Ultimate Warrior for Halloween this year.
You can, and now it'll be like a tribute.
No, it's a tribute. It wouldn't be. I don't want to be offensive. I guess not.
No, it wouldn't be offensive.
Yeah, that's
it'd be perfect. Honoring the man, the myth, the legend.
I loved him. That's when I had like my little flip outs as a kid. I would like start to.
Blaze actually posted,
and then I would just go to my older brothers and flip out.
Blaze had one. I think he had on Facebook or whatever. We had like the makeup and everything on. He was probably like 10 or something like that.
He's so good. No, I mean because you have to love Hulk Hogan as a kid.
I was a fan of Big Boss Man, actually. I don't know why. I just like Big Boss Man.
What about Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
Maybe
Roddy Piper? Because I think he's from Winnipeg. He's from the main streets of Winnipeg. Yeah, they were cool.
I don't know.
Maybe what is it? Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid?
Jake the Snake Roberts, Iron Sheik.
Jake the Snake.
So many memories. I'm really sad.
I know. So maybe we'll just carry on so we can console.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay, so one of the biggest topics, and this was brought up in the press media room. There was a gentleman there that was bringing up statistics and about the market and stuff regarding tablets. I know there's a lot of heartbreak with the playbook. I know that there's a lot of people anticipating a new tablet. It was a direct question asked to John Sims, and it was just like, are you guys developing a tablet? Do you have plans for a tablet? With a stone cold face, unfortunately, he said no, absolutely not. So that's something that needs to be put to rest, I think, for a lot of people hoping. It is very harsh, but I think I may do a write-up on why BlackBerry is probably not focusing so much on the tablet.
I mean, they just need to make... We have Mark from WP Central behind the camera helping us. You don't have a 1520 on you. You have a Lumia Icon?
Icon.
What's the screen size on the 1520?
6.
Because I will say, if you if you see a Lumia,
I have the Note 3 there with me too. I don't know what size that is, but that's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I mean, I don't think that's as big as that 1520.
It's still scary.
But when you get to that size of phone, you basically have a playbook in terms of usability already.
Yeah. Well, you've proven time and time again you can fit the playbook in your pocket. So
wear it on as a belt buckle, as a chain.
Well, also I think they also see that it's some, mobile devices, one that you would text and talk on, is primarily what they want to focus on. Tablets seem to be more on the accessory side and less on the necessary side. So
I think part of it, I'm trying to think when I spoke about this the other week, I ran that poll on CrackBerry saying, if you weren't, just forget about the playbook for a minute and you're buying a different non-BlackBerry tablet right now, what would you buy? Would it be a Surface tablet? Would it be an iPad? A Nexus 7 or Nexus 10? What would it be? And in that post I kind of recapped my theories, So one of my good old theories is the smartphone hierarchy of needs. There is no best smartphone. There's really a best smartphone for an individual based on what their priorities are. And the same thing happens with tablets, but it's a little different where I think it depends honestly on how much money you have and how many devices you want to own. Because if you said, look, I just want, for me, I own a desktop computer, I have a laptop, I have a tablet, and I have a phone. Right. So for me, the tablet is really a consumption device. I like to use it in bed for watching, Netflix or movies or reading books. Maybe if I'm on the couch and I want to just do some light web browsing without the laptop there, just casually flip through the sites and that I like to visit. Occasionally play a game. It's very, very just consumption oriented. And in that respect, for me, like an iPad is probably the most rock solid, consistent, easy. Yeah. But then say my brother, who's the one who prompted that story, because he's been a playbook owner since day one, and he's now like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to get something different in a few months. He's not gonna go run out and buy something different today. But he's not really an Apple fan. He doesn't, and he gets mad at how they lock him in because he wants that PC like functionality. Like he wants to be able to just, manage his files into folders the way he wants to. He wants to be able to, feel good working with Word docs and things. And even though I guess that's come to Apple now. So for him, that Surface is more of a productivity tool. So if you think about and I think most tablets lately have been sold more on the consumption front than the productivity front.
I think they certainly took that in consideration. They've done a tremendous amount of research and study, obviously, to make this decision. And, they're really focusing on, their core target audience.
Their core
and developing,
and even on the phones, right? Their core target is largely going to be, cute, the classic, which I think you have some news on there too. As a keyboard phone, right? And that seems to be a big priority. Obviously, they're going to have the Jakarta launch soon, but which is a touchscreen device. But I think the Hero flagship phone coming up is really a keyboard phone, and that shows like, okay, we're not focusing on tablets. We're not even focusing on a new Hero touchscreen immediately, although I'm sure there's there's always things in the pipeline.
And again, BlackBerry is these decisions are really, and I think people need to understand, these decisions are not made in the room in these boardrooms. They're made by listening to the overwhelming demand of what these enterprise people want.
I was gonna say, clearly not listening to the demands of playbook owners on the BlackBerry forums, because
that was a tough one.
Not a surprise though. At least in the near future. I mean, they know they can sell phones with keyboards. They don't know. I mean, they couldn't sell a tablet the first time around beyond the core audience. Sure. And, why would you take the risk the second time around now when it is a very competitive market? And I'm sure that research shows where, for every $1,000 spent, who's getting the chunk of that money, right?
Absolutely.
So.
Well, moving on, one of the other topics was BlackBerry retail stores. I know that they have that Washington, D.C. They said it was really important for them to establish themselves in a physical area where people who need customer service or need, assistance on learning device, being educated on the device and how to use it effectively, is essential to the BlackBerry experience and to the enterprise customers. So the next one was next question is, are they going to be opening up other retail locations? They are currently looking in strategic cities to open up and have a presence.
And in the U.S., not just
within the United States, absolutely.
So that's interesting to me because they used to partner with Wireless Giant, who had the BlackBerry stores. I think the first one was in, Farmington, Michigan or something. Remember there was that location?
And they had all those ones, they were in the airport.
Airport malls, yeah.
They used to be all over.
I flew through Minneapolis on the way here, and I always used to visit that one. Sure. And, it's not a BlackBerry store anymore. So that's interesting that they're going to do it and really, I guess, take ownership of it on their own now, not with a partner.
Yeah. Decide to open up a retail store.
DC makes sense. I mean, maybe New York here.
Yeah,
maybe I could get a job at it. That would be fun. I think I'd be all right. We could all work there.
Technically.
Hire us. Commission. Lots. No.
So,
maybe not. I don't know. We got to see how it goes. Whatever makes us the most money, so.
Sell like hell.
Sell like hell is right. I forgot about that. That's just over a year ago. That's just over a year ago. That was at the launch party here.
Always just close and open.
Down the road over there. For anybody who's wondering, we're on the 17th floor of the Gansevoort Hotel. Gansevoort, at what are we at?
Park Avenue and
Park Avenue South and 29.
Very nice.
Yeah, home for 3 days. Okay, what else?
Big topic for CrackBerry.
Look out.
What?
I don't know.
What is it?
Marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Marketing is such a hot topic on CrackBerry, and for anyone who's a follower and a fan of BlackBerry. So there were so many questions in regards to marketing, and you have Marty, who is working with, within BlackBerry and developing, strategic marketing campaign. There are a couple things to note here for our readers and followers is that the plan can't be executed unless they can stand 100% behind their services and product. So we're talking about having devices that are ahead of the curve. We're talking about really polished UI and software with 10.3. They want to get it right. They want to have something they could stand 100% behind and really push confidently. So they're developing that absolutely, on all cylinders right now. The other flip side to it is that they're taking a tremendous amount of information through listening and research and trying to understand what is it that sells effectively and what is it that they can create campaign-wise that can really give a clear message to everyone about who they are, what they're about, where they're going, because that's really essential. And I did write about it, creating that call following and creating a movement behind the new BlackBerry and getting people excited for it, because there's a tremendous amount of great features coming. John Chen himself was really kind of a little bit giddy talking about things that are coming. He didn't say exactly what they were, but he seems pretty amped, hyped up for it. And as far as the marketing, they do want to focus specifically on their target audience. The marketing is going to consist of educating people about BlackBerry 10. I know there was been some confusion on people who pick up a BlackBerry 10 device and they can't get it to work, especially people coming from the legacy devices. They think that it's the same functionality, and it wasn't. So a lot of these things are going to be addressed, and it's going to be incorporated into their...
Makes me so angry that we're talking about this in 2014 and not 2012, preceding the launch of BB10, right? I mean, that's honestly, I'm telling you like it is, honestly, like that all makes a lot of sense. But it could have been here a year ago.
They're going to do a tremendous amount of work with the carriers. I know that's always been such a huge factor. They're going to get into education and into training the sales associates in these major carriers, and really.
Like T-Mobile.
But in general though, so that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense what you're saying. So the nugget there is, don't expect to see a lot of marketing dollars spent on commercials and billboards and everything else until you see that the product get to where they want it.
You're doing it really intelligently now. I think they're resetting the button on this.
Yeah, it's efficiency of marketing dollars, right? Like if you're a marketer selling anything, and let's say you're a phone manufacturer, for every $100,000 they spend on advertising, they want to see $500,000 in product sold. It's basically as clear as that. Mm-hmm. And if you spend that money and you're not seeing that return, there's a couple things. One, you could be marketing wrong. Or two, the product, no matter how you market it, just isn't going to get that return you're looking for. And that's the difference in the world we live in today versus even probably 10 years ago. I mean, the internet and everything's changed, right? You have a much more savvy consumer base. You can't take products that are let's say 80% there and convince people that they're 100% there, because they will know there's 20% missing. Mm-hmm. So there's really no choice but to be 100% polished, like you said, get ahead of the curve, leave no gaps on the table.
Absolutely. It makes sense for them to even naturally do that, because there is no way that BlackBerry at this point could compete marketing-wise with the other giants. I mean, these people are throwing hundreds of millions of dollars that they can afford, and BlackBerry's not exactly in that position to do that.
And look, and the thing is, they don't need to overnight. It would be a bad goal right now, given money in the bank and everything else, to say, okay, we want to compete with Apple and Samsung on marketing. It's almost more of a, can we pick off LG? Can we pick off HTC? And in some cases, I haven't looked at the exact numbers. I mean, they're going to be ahead of the game in some and behind in some. But just keep climbing the rails of the ladder until you're right back,
Yeah.
But nobody stands still, so you got to push hard all the way through. But that makes a lot of logical sense, I think, that tactic, and keep their war chest as full as they can in terms of money. So when they have the product, that's when they spend again.
Absolutely. And the follow-up question was, how soon can we see this actually take into effect? Sooner or later? And they hinted at sooner. We'll be starting to see some things.
So you mentioned 10.3. Is there a timeline that they gave on that at all?
10.3, no, but it's a lot farther than most people realize.
I would think that makes sense, though.
I want to be careful.
Your first day and you already heard things off the record? Amazing.
Man, it's bad.
Okay, well, I won't make you screw up on that. So that's okay.
Well, I think it's fine to talk about the red accent marks.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
I would say that at this point, there was an individual that was running the current OS that they're developing now, the latest version, on a device I cannot name. running the laser, and they themselves had no recollection that there was even red.
No, yeah, we talked about that. That was scrapped. That was an early test.
That was such an early test. So I think we can lay to rest that, that red was definitely not going to be.
I'm going to come back to the marketing a little bit. And obviously 10.2.1 has the Android runtime in it, or I should say the ability to install Android APKs directly onto the device, which BlackBerry hasn't yet put into any sort of real promotion. They had one press release the day it hit, which I don't actually think that press release even mentioned that.
Because we had to
added it in.
Yeah,
you threw it in.
There was no mention of it at all.
So does that come back to this experience thing, you think, where they're not happy with it to the point where they can market it?
So that's very interesting, because that was something that was brought up. And they confidently said that something pretty soon is going to, they've been developing the Android runtime, of course, updating it. And they want to make the experience of acquiring Google apps more seamless and more welcoming to people. I know I even now there's a lot of people on with BlackBerry 10 devices that really still kind of feel that it's side loading somehow.
It is.
And
okay, well, I'm just going to say that's crazy, because every BlackBerry OS phone, you just installed a JAD file directly. You didn't need to go through BlackBerry.
For average people, it's still a pain, like they need to...
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not side loading. I mean, that's how, if you have an Android phone, you can install an APK. It's just freaking installing the app.
They acknowledge this. They acknowledge, the person, and they want to make the experience better. And they said there is something that they're working on that's going to be out relatively soon that's going to make the experience of getting Android apps on your devices a lot better.
So either that is allowing them to be downloaded straight from BlackBerry World, or a separate official Android APK store that's endorsed by somebody. There's not a lot of options there.
Right. I mean, we can really speculate. There's only 3 options maybe?
Yeah.
The tops. So it's got to be one of those.
BlackBerry and Amazon enter into an official agreement, and they just vet out the...
But it is something definitely to look forward to. I know a lot of people... I think it will make a lot of users, too, a lot more comfortable. Because BlackBerry is standing behind this development, so they feel more comfortable. They're less likely to say, I know that some people are really apprehensive of downloading anything from the Android, the Google Play Store, and they're worried that their BlackBerry won't function, properly or normally. And BlackBerry taking these measures to make the experience better, really shows the confidence in the BlackBerry 10 software and the cohesiveness between them. So that's certainly something to look forward to.
Okay, so we're running tight on time because we're pre-recording on an SLR, so when we get too long, it just makes life miserable. Any one last thought from the show? I heard that the BlackBerry Classic name, John Chen, is going to... He thinks that's staying as a product
Absolutely,
name?
That's official.
So it's not the Q20?
It's not going to be the Q20 at all. It is BlackBerry Classic.
All I think of is Coke when I hear it.
I know. I mean, BlackBerry. That was the discussion the day it was announced when I was in Barcelona.
That's crazy.
But that's okay.
I like
couple...
Coke.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I like Coke, so I don't mind. It's good.
He likes Coke.
Carry on. These guys don't like sugar because I put it all right here.
Look, it is crack.
It's an investment.
I have figures to worry about.
It is crackberry.com.
Coke, not crack.
Well, I know, but they're like...
I've never done either one, but I'm pretty sure they're...
Kevin obviously has thought about this.
There's not a lot to do in Winnipeg, so...
So two things. I know that with the Reuters announcement a couple weeks ago, it was such a huge firestorm that they're exiting the handset
that
business.
whole debacle.
It was just flat out wrong. Yeah. It was flat out wrong. John Chen in person to me was just, I love the handsets. And a couple notations like, I'm going to remain in the handset business, absolutely, and I'm confident that we're going to get it profitable. Yeah. And he says we will make it work. So, and the other tidbit that I took away, he did confirm that there is going to be a high-end all-touch device coming.
Yeah.
So
we talked about that in Barcelona. Very exciting.
He said
giddiness, right? They get really excited.
Well, when he said that part, he got really excited about this.
I want
one. So that was something absolutely exciting to hear. So for everyone out there that's kind of worrying about BlackBerry exiting, they are not exiting whatsoever. They are on time with the roadmaps with all these devices and rumored devices. They almost seem like they're on par or ahead of schedule with a lot of their things.
Good deal.
So it's really great to hear.
It is a new BlackBerry. It's a different BlackBerry. It's changing.
It's the new BlackBerry.
The new BlackBerry.
New BlackBerry. Okay, so final note that I took away that was great, and the BlackBerry Experience here in New York. I finished with the media, the press meeting. I'm on my way out. I got all the information, and I see John Sims by the door. He's talking to another gentleman. And, he just broke away, and I just stepped right in. I thanked him, for answering all the tough questions. They were drilled with a lot of tough stuff, but he nailed it with, answering and giving clear answers, definitive answers, confidently.
He's a good guy.
Such a gentleman, very calmly, and it was just, it was great just to speak. It was a great experience. And I shook his hand, and I asked him, is there any specific message that you want to give to the CrackBerry community? Is there anything you want to say?
My favorite question. You've learned well.
And I want to get this right, so I'm going to pick up my pad for this one.
I got notes for it.
And he looked at me straight in the eye, and he said, "You can count on us to get it right." Oh. That's the exact message that he wanted me to. I got the quotes on there.
Maybe that should be the title of this podcast.
And I like how we figure them out
in the last minute.
I mean, the man did not blink. He said, "You know what? You can count on us to get it right." And it was such an encouraging thing to hear from Sims. And I know he's only been there for how long?
Yeah, like the last few months.
Yeah, so for him to say something like that so confidently
good.
Is certainly great news. And there's a lot of things in development, a lot of things in the works to look forward to. So that's it for you CrackBerrians out there. You can count on BlackBerry.
Yeah. Boom. I love it. No, well, thanks for joining the team.
Thanks for having me.
I have a very simple viewpoint, which is, give our readers what they want, and I think it's a good time to bring in lots of passionate voices and new blood onto the site. Mm-hmm. The thing that's been interesting is I did a call for writers. I've had I think over 50 applicants now. Wow. I still have to get back to a lot of people because there's just too much to read through, and people are sending in resumes and videos, and it's awesome. And what I've seen is there's so many different seeds to BlackBerry passion, right? Everybody likes it for different reasons. Some people have the same reasons, obviously, but there's a lot of passion for this company, for the brand, for the products, and it changes over time, and I think that's what makes it great. And I know even for me, when I think about what I loved about BlackBerry in 2005 when I got my first device, it was none of the stuff we talk about today, right? Yeah. I mean, apps weren't really a thing, right? The keyboard even on that phone wasn't as addictive as it became over the next couple of years. For me, it was the connectivity of it. I was a kid who grew up on internet version 1.4. My internet came to my town. We had 4 dial-up lines. I would get a line and I would hope the power wouldn't go out so I didn't have to waste 13 hours waiting for somebody to hang up. And then I was on IRC and IRC and what's the other thing? That ICQ. All these things. And I would run home from school just to be able to log in and be connected. I wanted to be connected. Mm-hmm. And when I got my BlackBerry, the thing I loved about it was it connected me like no device had ever done before. Whether it was the push email or the BBM also at the time. And that's why I made everybody buy them. And this was a device that was always on, always connected. That was actually BlackBerry's tagline at that point that they sold with. They trademarked it. That was their thing. And, had another company at the time given me that experience, that'd probably have been the company I fell in love with. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then over time, the devices change. I fall in love with the blinking red light and, the keyboard experience I get used to. But then now I'm used to a touchscreen keyboard also. So these things all change over time. Eventually, I grew in love with the company because all of a sudden I'm like, well, it's a great Canadian story. And then over the years, I've met so many employees. And then you have this extra, vested interest where, it's not a company I buy the products from only. It's a company that I want to succeed because so many friends are there. Yeah. So my story has changed and evolved. And sometimes I love the product, sometimes I don't love the product. But in the end, it's a story and a part of my life that I love a lot. But I think it's great to see more people come onto the site who have different seeds of where their passion comes from. And obviously there's a lot of passion on CrackBerry. So that's something I want to just bring in more because, my story changes over time. I think Adam's story changes over time. Sure. And it's nice to see people coming in who have a very fresh passion for it. like the way I did in the beginning also, because it just changes, right? So I'm really excited about it.
It's very exciting to be on board. I love to thank all the fellow readers, followers and CrackBerrians out there for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it. I didn't get to individually thank everyone, but I did read through all of it. And it's been a great response, so thank you very much.
Cool. And we're going to bring on some more people too, so for people who've sent me emails, I will eventually get back to you. Have patience. And, for all those reading the sites and following, we're going to try to spice things up a little bit. It might not be everybody's a full-time person writing 10 posts a day kind of thing, but, I think it's a great community, so we just want to bring more of that up to the surface as much as we can. Adam, I like the logo on your t-shirt.
Thank you very much.
So you got to vote. What was it? The contest. You got to guess the name.
You can guess the name. So
it's on the back of my shirt. Do you want to see it?
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You guys want to see it?
No, you can't do it. You can't do it. No.
Can I just turn around and we can just cut it before we get there?
Yeah. Right when he turns, cut it.
No. So long story short, next week smartwatch fans will be rebranded to something more focused on all connected devices and
bigger stories, smarter people.
Yeah, it's good. Like I said earlier, what I loved about BlackBerry in the beginning was that it connected me like no other device on the planet Earth ever had before. And, we're now in an era in 2014 where you can say we're actually living in the post-smartphone era. If you go back to the beginning of mobile nations, right, and when Marcus started Visor Central in 99, it was an audacious dream that, one day everybody on the planet Earth would have a smartphone, right, or that every phone sold would be a smartphone. And now in 2014, it's basically a reality that, every phone becomes a smartphone, right? Mm-hmm. Not every person's going to necessarily have one, but, every phone is going to be a smartphone. Like the manufacturers will just eventually quit making anything that is not a smartphone. Mm-hmm. And the next frontier is everything that connects to it. Because when everybody does have this, mobile computer in their pocket that can talk to everything else, the world changes yet again. And, this new site, the rebranding of smartwatch fans, I'm really excited about, because I think it's, it has, it rewinds us back to where even, let's say, the smartphone story was, 10 years ago, 8 years ago. It's like at year 0 right now in this whole connected space, maybe into year 1. And it'll be fun for us to follow that. And it's a lot of new energy, a lot of new products to look at. And I think it's a great compliment for, CrackBerry and all of our sites, because regardless of the platform or device you're using, it's really a common ground where, even if on day 1 a product doesn't support all the platforms, ultimately it will, because it is becoming that sort of connected world.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, because we've been obviously mobile nations, mobile sites, so you have BlackBerry for Kevin and Phil for Android and Renee for iPhone, and Daniel for Windows Phone, but we don't just sit and use our mobile phones all day. We do other things. We listen to our Sonos, we play with our Philips Hue, you have Sphero and all these other toys and home automation things and connected things. So it's fun for us because, we can bring in all these voices for other things. So Kevin has a place to write about Sonos, and we can just
there's a lot more topics and things that we have the passion for that we've never really had a clear spot for it to live. So
it's gonna be pretty epic.
Yeah, and we're gonna build up a lot more contributing personalities on that too, because I think the key thing is you need to have the passion, and I think with connected tech you start to have a lot of passions that benefit from tech. It's not that the tech is the passion. Sure. It's like I love fitness, so therefore things like the Fitbit and FuelBand are interesting to me. It's not that I just love the Fitbit and FuelBand. Mm-hmm. Right. But on that note, we're just going to wrap it. I think this is long enough. Mark, thank you for filming behind the scenes here. He's been awesome, and I think he's going to probably splice this together. We'll get it posted as fast as possible. And you're not on Twitter, which is amazing. I really like this. No, I kind of like this.
I am not on social media. I did take your
You should just have like an ongoing thread in the CrackBerry forums. Talk to me here. I will read this.
I did a write-up on why I'm not on social media, as you requested. I did give it to Adam, and he will
Adam refuses to post it. He's
I didn't read it. I read the title. I'm like, what do you mean you're not on social media? Delete.
It kind of means you're probably more normal.
He's like, did you get my post? Yep, I got it. Didn't read it.
All right, guys, and it's like Easter/Passover weekend, and there's probably other things happening that I don't know about.
In the outside world,
In the outside world.
The wrestlers died.
Ultimate Warrior died here.
Why did you have to bring it up again?
Amazing. Thanks, guys.
This is for we dedicate this podcast to the Ultimate Warrior.